we have also discussed an important concept, a likely question like all contracts are agreement, but all agreements are not contract. This particular thing mentions that before a contract has to be come into existence, there will be requirement of agreement. But it may happen that some agreements which we have made before may not turn out to be into the contract. So in today's particular lecture, we are going to elaborate and discuss more about this crucial part, which is called as agreement turning into the contract. So section 10, which mentions the essential elements of a valid contract. Under this, the first essential element is offer and acceptance. There must be a lawful offer and a lawful acceptance of the offer, thus resulting in an agreement. The adjective lawful implies that the offer and acceptance must satisfy the requirements of the Contract Act in relation thereto. So the valid course has to be followed. The particular mechanism of making an offer and its acceptance should be very very clearly and should be very properly understood by both of the parties to the contract. Second is the intention to create legal relation. So here there must be intention among the parties that the agreement should be attached by legal consequences and create legal obligations. Agreement of a social or domestic nature do not contemplate legal relations, and as such they do not give rise to the contract. Example, agreement to dine at a friend's house is not an agreement intended to create a legal relation, and therefore is not a contract. Similarly, agreement between husband and wife also lack the intention to create relationship and thus do not result into the contract. Example, your friend has invited you for a dinner. He has made certain expenses and he have made some cuisines for you, and you were not able to keep the promise and you did not went to his home for dinner. So next day he cannot sue you in a court of law that I have made these expenses and you didn't came for the dinner, so now you have to pay it. Why? Because here legal relationship concept is missing, and hence this particular case will not stand in the court of law. Similarly, if you purchase any bill, any product from any particular shop and you get an invoice for them, and that particular invoice is has been mentioned the any particular terms and condition, and as per that terms and condition, if any particular thing happened and you want to exchange that particular product or you want to give it back that particular product, then the particular shopkeeper have to accept it, because the invoice has created that contract which creates a legal relation between the buyer and seller. Next term is consensus ad addendum. As we discussed in the last slide, that meeting of minds is very important. What I am offering for sale and what you are purchasing should be very very clear. Example, I may have two scooters, one of a blue color and other of a red color. The blue color scooter may be 2-year-old and red color scooter may be 3 years old. When I am offering for a sale of a scooter, I should mention it very clearly that I want to sell the blue color scooter which is 2-year-old for rupees 20,000. So here the contents of a subject matter, when I am going to make a sale and at what place I am going to get delivery, this should be clearly informed to the purchasing party, so that there should be no ambiguity and the subject matter is clear. Next term is lawful consideration. As we discussed initially, consideration is something in written. So this something has to be in legal and lawful way. This is the essential element of valid contract. The presence of consideration. Consideration can be defined as the price paid by one party for the promise of another. An agreement is legally enforceable only when each of the parties to it gives something or gets something. The something given or obtained is the price for the promise and is called consideration. Subject to certain exceptions, gratuitous promises are not enforceable at law. The consideration may be an act, that is doing something, or forbearance, not doing something, or a promise to do or not to do something. It may be past, present, or future, but only those considerations are valid which are lawful. The consideration is lawful unless it is forbidden by law, or is of such a nature that if permitted it would defeat the provision of any law, or is fraudulent, or involve or implies injury to the other person or property of another, or is immoral or opposed to public policy. So here the consideration which you are going to give in written, it should be lawful and it should not affect any other party or interest of any other party. So this is the most essential. Thereafter, next point is capacity to contract. So as we know that there should be minimum 2 persons who will enter into the contract. So the parties to an agreement must be competent to contract. But the question arises now, is it that what parties are competent and what are not competent? The contracting party must be of the age of majority, of sound mind, and must not be disqualified by any law to which they are subject. If any of the parties to the agreement suffers from minority, lunacy, idiocy, drunkenness, etc., then they are not competent party, and such agreement is not enforceable by law. Except in some special cases, example in the case of necessaries supplied to the minor or lunatic, the supplier of good is entitled to be reimbursed from their estate. So here competency of party is very much important. So who are the person with whom you are entering the contract? It is a responsibility of other person to see that the party is competent and the contract against them is legally enforceable. We are going to have a separate discussion on these topics in the coming lectures. Next is about the free consent. Free consent to all the parties to an agreement is another essential element. This concept has 2 aspects, that consent should be made and it should be free of any pressure or misunderstanding. Here the consent means that the parties must have agreed upon the same thing in the same sense. You can see on the screen there are certain details provided that when the consent is not free. Under section 15, that is the coercion, which means the application of force. If you trigger a gun on someone's head and ask him to sign a contract, it constitutes to the coercion. Undue influence, section 16, which states that when you are into the fiduciary relationship of trust to someone and they tell you to enter into the contract but you are not willing, example your parents, your guru, or any such religious monk, when they are telling you if you do